Accurate mode.
Alrighty. Hello, everyone. My apologies for the late start. I was having tech issues, and I was also shoveling food in my mouth, because I have not eaten yet. Sorry. Just adjusting my position. I really need a second monitor back. Good God, I am not used to not being able to see my OBS screen. I have a way to mirror my, whoa. My brain is not functioning. But I have a way to mirror my screen to my tablet, but turns out that uses a lot of CPU and makes everything lag, so I can't exactly use it. But I digress. Why does the stream manager on Twitch not show your active live stream as well? That would be nice. It doesn't. That's a bit annoying. Okay, well I guess I'm pulling it up on my phone so I at least have some reference of what the fuck you all are looking at, just to make sure things aren't dying. I need a second monitor, badly. But I hope we are all doing okay. That is not who I want to bring up right now. Thank you. No one cares about the chat overlay. I just need to make sure I don't look stupid. No, I don't want to change the stream info. Go away. I am looking in a horrible position. Vinyan? Are you okay? The answer is no. Give me a second. Hi. There we go. That's a bit better. So, we are back in with 428 Shibuya Scramble. It has been long enough since I've played this game. I don't exactly remember where we left off or what was happening. All I know was chaos and things are ramping up. I think we were getting closer to the end, but I don't actually know. I have no idea how long this game is. Let's take a look at the time chart. That might give me some stuff. Okay, so we had A jump point from Osawa. There's a bad end for Kano, which we need to deal with. We have 2 to be continued, which means these 2 routes are good. So we need Minorikawa, Osawa, and a good end for Kano. So this one had choices, this one had a jump point. Well, being as I know I left off on Osawa, let's see what this was. Trigger our memory a little bit. My eyes are not open. I'm sorry. I'm gonna check Vignan for a sec. Hi, I'm expressive. Am I good? This is why I need a second monitor. I have a constant need to check these things because it just... Oh, where's my water? It's over on the other side of the room. I'll grab it later. Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara called out. It appears you have a visitor. Could you handle that? So we have... I need to remember how to use this game. Which would be Minorikawa. Which takes us over to this jump point. Okay, now I know where we are. Ah, here we go. He spotted a nameplate that read Osawa. Kenji Osawa, huh? The name nagged at him somehow. It had been in the back of his mind ever since he'd seen it in the phone book back at the cafe. Had he heard it someplace before? He walked up to the gate and pressed the button for the intercom. Even the little chime it made when pressed sounded... Wow, my reading skills are in the garbage today. Even the little chime it made when pressed sounded elegant. Oh my god. Minorikawa waited, but there was no response. He looked at his watch. It was 2:30 now. His interview with Shinosuke Oari of the Wandering Angels was supposed to have started already. Still, he wanted to meet the twins first if it was possible. He had to make a choice. So obviously we did B before, so let's do A. He decided to wait a little bit longer. Just 5 more minutes. A woman's mace... A woman's mace. Oh no. A woman's voice came through the intercom. Who is it? It's Minorikawa. Where would I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's really only one Minorikawa, really. I don't have time for such nonsense. Please, be on your way. I'm not going anywhere until I get into... Wow! This is why I need to get back reading. It's real bad. Until I get an interview. Interview? Who are you with? The woman's tone had changed now. Maybe Minorikawa could simply talk his way through this. This is a piece for 4-star general gossip. Ah, perfect. I've been wanting to talk to them. Was this one of Miss Midoriyama's winners? Or perhaps it was the girl's mother, eager to boast about her daughter's achievement. I assume you're familiar with the defamation of character? The woman said. Oh! What are you talking about? Article 230 of the Penal Code in Japan defines it as any attack against a person's reputation or social standing. It's a very serious crime. I know what it is, Minorikawa said. What's your point? You had a bad feeling about this. Why discuss libel? Is that how that's said? I don't know. Libel laws right before an interview. Oh, I'm not letting you get away with telling me you've forgotten. I wonder if you'll remember once I bring up charges. Oh, fuck. Her tone was calm and level, but laced with malice. You're talking nonsense, lady. Are you the mother? I've got business with your daughters. Put one of them on the line. Nonsense? The woman's wrath radiated from the intercom. It's your four-star general gossip that specializes in nonsense. Her voice was so loud it was cracking. Detective, arrest this man. He's a criminal. Huh. Detective, huh? You don't really think I'd fall for that, do you, lady? Just who do you think I am? I'm Minoru Minorikawa. He crossed his arms and struck a defiant pose. He's getting arrested. Oh no. Then the front door opened up and several men came trotting out. Sir, one of the men said, we'd like to ask you a few questions. At the word sir, the man flashed his badge and Minorikawa turned to run on reflex. He hadn't thought she'd actually send detectives after him. Just what the hell had Heaven... What? Just what the hell had Heaven Publishing done to her? Never mind, he needed to get out of here. He couldn't afford to get arrested right now. Oh, honey. Out with it. You abducted that girl, didn't you? Detective, you keep asking me the same question over and over. And I'll keep asking you until you tell me the truth. Look, ask all you want, but I can't tell you what I don't know. Then let's go back to the beginning, shall we? Oh, cut the crap. I don't have time for your games. As a matter of fact, you have plenty of time, I can assure you of that. The stubborn detective flashed him a grin. I can keep doing this for days, if that's what it takes to get you to confess. And so the interrogation went on for hours. In the end, once his innocence had been established, Minorikawa was finally released. He wrote a scathing indictment on his experience. The report shook up the system in a major way. But that's another story for another day. Alright. So we have a bad end there. So I think we need to jump to Osawa's, play through it, and then that'll help over Minorikawa's route. Which theoretically would help with Kano's? I don't know, I can't remember. Mr. Osawa, well, we already read this. I don't want autoplay. Who could it possibly be? Who could it possibly be, now of all times? Okay, so I think we need to receive this guest, because that would make sense. Even though this would probably deal with other things. Let's just move forward with it. Alright. With a sigh, Osawa dragged himself to his feet. He stumbled wearily back to the living room, where the investigators were staring at the intercom monitor with concern. The intercom's hidden camera showed a man with an unsettling grin posed intimidatingly outside the front gate. Oh, oh, I'm choking my own spit. Osawa didn't recognize him. Yes, who is it? He asked guardedly through the intercom. It's Minorikawa. Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. Are you playing games with me? I don't have time for that. Please, just open up. There's no way I'm letting you in, Osawa said. But the nonsensical badgering continued. Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that? An interview? That's right. A piece for the 4-star general gossip. The name of the magazine brought up an unpleasant memory. That was the gossip rag that had run the article about his political marriage. Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles. What do you mean, those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview. The man's tone was both high-handed and belligerent. Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. You're not the one who I'm here to talk to. I want to interview your twin daughters. My daughters? Wow. I understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you wouldn't mind my interviewing them, I... Furious, Osawa cut off the intercom. This was no time to be indulging in someone else's nonsense. Hey, what gives? The man was shouting so loud his voice carried past the gate and through the front door. I'm begging out here, on my hands and knees. He wasn't actually on his hands and knees. Osawa could clearly see that through the intercom monitor. If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them? Mr. Osawa, Kajiwara said, frowning. This isn't a good time to have someone drawing attention to your home. All right, I'll get rid of him. Osawa hurried out of the front gates, confronting Minorikawa through the front gate. Okay, we'll come back to that. The journalist had a tenacious look that immediately marked him as a member of the media. Give me your business card, Osawa said. I'll have them get in touch with you later. He took Minorikawa's card and then went right back inside. Back in his study, Osawa tossed Minorikawa's business card in the trash. Unable to think of what else to do, he tried the internet fortune teller again. He got the same, "You're a very work-minded person," result the second time. If you don't get over your indifference to the world might start to harbor quite a grudge. My indifference to the world around me. Huh. The truth is that even with his closest companions, even with Tanaka, for instance, his relationship had always been strictly a matter of business. He never really taken it upon himself to get to know Tanaka as a person. And that was pretty much the case for everyone he knew. He harbored no interest in other people. He had no concern for his fellow man. That had made itself abundantly clear when he received a microscope as a birthday present way back in first grade. Even now, he still remembered the shock he felt when he looked through that lens for the first time. He discovered a new, almost infinite world hidden in the midst of one he's always thought was too small. By comparison, the real world seemed bland and ugly. Wherever he looked, wherever he went, he had to contend with tedium. It hadn't taken long for him to become more charmed by the world under his microscope than the one around him. It was like a calm, quiet little seaside, a beach where he could just sit and stare out at the waves. He wanted to stay immersed in that world forever and ever. Before I knew it, he was an adult. And then a husband. And then a father. The people around him thought him an odd fellow, but he hadn't let that change the way he lived his life. And this, now, was the result. He hadn't been betrayed by Tanaka. He didn't know Tanaka well enough for that. Find a way to connect more deeply with the people around you and start living a better life before it's too late. Just do that, and you're sure to have a wonderful future ahead. Osawa picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. I tried calling him repeatedly and hadn't gotten through. It was doubtful that he'd pick up. Still, Osawa had to try. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound, preparing himself for disappointment. What is it? Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osawa's ear. The tension was electric. We're at a keep out point. Fuck! Okay. So I know there's a secondary jump point, which we'll go to here. Okay. Aha. Suddenly, a man's voice came through the intercom. Yes, who is it? He sounded rather guarded. It's Minorikawa. Where might I know you from, Mr. Minorikawa? Oh, you know, here and there. I mean, there's only one Minorikawa, really. Are you playing games with me? I don't have the time for that. Please, just open up. There's no way I'm letting you in. There's too many S's. This discussion was getting them nowhere. Minorikawa decided he'd have to take the direct approach. Look, just hold your horses. I'm here for an interview. You got that? An interview? He'd taken the bait. Most folks could hardly resist the word interview. That's right. It's a piece for 4-star general gossip. Wait. This is for one of those kinds of articles. The man sounded angry now. What do you mean, those kinds of articles? I'm just looking for an interview. Like hell you are. I'm not talking to anyone from the gossip. You're not the one I'm here to talk to. I want an interview. To interview your twin daughters. My daughters? No parent would deny their children a chance for a word to spread their that was not how you read that. No parent would deny their children a chance for a word of their achievement to spread. I understand they won a shared prize for a beauty contest at Midoriyama Academy. If you wouldn't mind my interview them, The intercom cut out before Minorikawa could finish. Hey, what gives? I'm begging out here, on my hands and knees. He wasn't actually on the hands and knees, but whoever was on the other end couldn't see that. Little did he know. If your daughters aren't home, can you at least tell them I want to get in touch with them? He wasn't even using the intercom now. He was just shouting over the gate. A man stepped out of the front door. Give me your business card, he said. I'll have them get in touch with you later. The man had a somewhat stricken look on his face. This had to be Kenji Osawa. Then... wait. Hold on. Osawa? Now Minorikawa recognized him. This was Kenji Osawa, the preeminent virologist, probably virologist, who worked for Okoshi Pharmaceutical. 4-Star Journal Gossip had run a scandalous article on him in the past. Minorikawa remembered reading it. He held out his business card and Osawa snatched it from him. The virologist started to head back into his house. Please see that they get back to me, Mr. Osawa, Minorikawa shouted after him. And then he noticed something odd. It was the middle afternoon, but every window in the house had its curtains drawn. That, combined with Osawa's demeanor, set off alarm bells in Minorikawa's head. He knew he was onto something, but he couldn't linger at the Osawa residence any longer than he already had. He needed to get that theater ASAP. He hurried back to the taxi and told Kimizuka to go. A few minutes later, the rear tires skidded sharply as the cab came to a stop beside a different curb. The trip from Shoto to the theater in Sakuragaoka had taken them almost no time at all. Here we are, sir, Kimizuka announced. Wow, that was fast. Still, Minorikawa was at least 5 minutes behind schedule. He hoped he'd still be able to get the interview with Owari. Oh, we're at another keep out point. Okay, so I think this is my jump point for that then. Yeah, it is. Hell yeah. Minorikawa got his wallet out of his jacket to pay the driver. Oh no, Kimizuka said, waving a hand. Don't worry about the fare. Huh? Why not? There's still plenty left over from what you paid me earlier, sir. That's what I meant by special fare. That's right, he paid Kimizuka a whole, 10,000 yen for taking him to Endo Electronics earlier. But, I mean, I'm not the sort of person to keep change, as it were, Kimizuka said. Minorikawa felt a surge of pride at those words. You're my kind of guy, Mr. Kimizuka. A man on the job can always count on Hachiro Kimizuka's Taki. Taki. Taxi. The driver grinned. Oh boy. Now go on. Go. Thank you. Have a feeling we'll meet again. I like the taxi driver. He's fun. As Minorikawa entered the theater lobby, he saw a bunch of flower bouquets, patrons' gifts of appreciation. Among the names of the senders were celebrities he'd recognized. Celebrities. The largest of the bouquets was sent by Koichi Nakimura of the Secret Society of Chunsoft. Oh my god. So, one of the publishers for this game is Chunsoft. That's why I'm laughing. The next largest came from Marutaro Ishihara from the government organization Joy Arts. Oh, that's so clever. Following up that were those from actress... give me a second. Actress Barako Rose, popular scenario writer Ebitsu Ipponnatsu, Tohoku Bus Tours Co., Limited, bus guide Kimi Ko Amo, professional baseball player Masa Narikiyo, the ventriloquist Shinshin, ukulele player Hoai Matsuda, online TV critic Genzo Akitsu, and so on. Oh, that's great. Evidently, the Wandering Angels were a pretty popular acting troupe. Episode 4. Novice actor Tayuka Amo, despite his nervousness, gave a credible performance as Shido as the production got underway, but as the show continued, his inexperience became apparent. He went on stage for the big wire action scene, having forgotten to attach himself to the rigging. Tozuka was quick to act, rushing on stage in the improvised role of assassin with an Edo accent number 1, and fixing the rope to Amo's back during the confusion. People were setting out pamphlets and flyers on a nearby table. There was a palpable tension in the air. The crew seemed skittish as they went about their work. "He's late," someone shouted all of a sudden. It was a man over in one corner of the lobby, railing angrily to nobody in particular. Why the hell hasn't that journalist shown up yet for the interview? He looked like he'd been waiting on Minorikawa then. What's the deal? Pulling this while we're busy? Guess that's Shinosuke Ora. Ooh, I butchered that name. Shinosuke Owari. I've been busy myself, Minorikawa said, keeping his composure. Trust me, I know how it goes. Huh? Who the hell are you? I'm the guy you've been waiting for. Mr. Owari. Oh, I've been saying it wrong. It's Owari. Owari. The man glared at him. It's Owari, he said. Anyways, I'm Minorikawa. Sorry to keep you waiting. Though really, a short wait is a small price to pay for the chance to be interviewed by me. Well, I hope you appreciate how valuable my time is now that you're taking it, snapped Owari. Wow, someone sure has a high opinion of himself, Minorikawa replied. Jesus Christ! He marched up to Owari. Damn right I do. I'm Shinosuke Owari. The theater man got right up in Minorikawa's face. Like anyone even cares. A jolt of tension sparked between the two men. Around this time, there's a similar jolt of tension between two other people, Kenji Osawa and Mamoru Tanaka. Ah, there's our jump point. I beg your pardon? A woman interrupted. But Mr. Owari does have a schedule to keep. And who are you, miss? Sukozawa. I'm the producer. Well, listen, Sue. I'm in the middle of an interview here. Minorikawa. Please don't interrupt. What? That's how you conduct an interview? That's right. This is how I roll. Look, whatever, Owari growled. Let's just do this already. Fine by me. The two men sat down at opposite sides of a table in the lobby. But Sukozawa spoke up again. Mr. Owari, don't forget the meeting you have after this. Yeah, handle that, would you? Minorikawa uttered a derisive. English is bullshit, holy crap. Derisive snort. It looks like you're holding court, he said. Do people actually hang around you with that kind of attitude? You have no right to judge my acting troupe. Minorikawa straightened up in his chair, a mocking smile on his lips. Oh, so it's your acting troupe, huh? He said. Why not just play all the roles yourself? Heck, you could even be your own audience. How dare you? Owada rose to his feet and made to leave, but Sukozawa, I will learn that name. Sukozawa herded him back down into his chair. Minorikawa continued as if he hadn't heard. Just what is it you do anyway? He asked. Owada raised an incredulous eyebrow. You don't know? No, why should I? You came to an interview without knowing anything about who you were interviewing. Yep. That's it! Get out! Owada rolled and pointed angrily towards the exit. How dare an unmannered clod like you come in here and waste my time? Hey, who's being unmannered now? I came all the way to hear your story, didn't I? Why don't you get out? Minorikawa pointed to the exit as well. Why the hell should I have to leave? Owada demanded. This is my house. Theater jargon for the theater itself, especially the main auditorium. This is true. Look, just get out. This time both yelled and pointed towards the exit in unison. Sukozawa quickly interposed herself between them, forcing a smile. Gentlemen, please, calm down, she said. Then she turned to Minorikawa. You should be aware that Mr. Owada used to be a broadcast writer. Someone who writes for television or radio programs. A great show depends not only on the actor's performances, but on the skills of the broadcast writer. He's responsible for a lot of big hits. You don't need to mention that, Owada grumbled. Nonetheless, Sukozawa rattled off the names of several shows. Minorikawa did indeed recognize many of them. He murmured. So how come you're running a failing theater now? Failing? Owada went red in the face. I'm not wrong, am I? You're absolutely the rudest person I've ever met. What would a rank amateur like yourself know about theater? Owada's face was dark with rage, but Minorikawa didn't back down. Listen, this has nothing to do with how well your theater is or isn't doing, he snapped. The television world wouldn't accept you, so in order to train your pride as an entertainer, you started doing theater. Isn't that so? Don't act like you know anything. I've staked my entire life on the theater. It seemed as if Owada might throw a punch at any moment. Sure, a city theater might seem small time compared to TV, but you get a lot more of a response from it. Response? Oh-ho, now that sounds interesting. Darn right, Owada exclaimed. You can see it from up on stage. The audience, you can see their faces. There's a passion in Owada's voice now. You can really feel it. When the audience is enjoying themselves, you can feel that energy. You can't get that from doing television. Thinking back on it now, my time spent working on TV. Let's see, what's a good analogy? It's like being handed a towel that's already damp. No, that's not right. Okay, so a better analogy would be... And without further preamble, Owada began talking about his tribulations back in his broadcast writer days. Minorikawa smiled inwardly. He won. He got a... Oh! Hi, Ain! What do you mean, what the pelvis? Oh, pevis. Hi, Ain! Welcome in. So this is 428 Shibuya Scramble. It is a visual novel, and if I tried to describe the story at this point, we'd be more lost. I'll be absolutely honest. What the... Story is when you, and then you. Yeah. But yeah, it's a really fun visual novel. But yeah, trying to go back and explain the story is kind of a clusterfuck. Just a wee bit. But how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for coming in. The interview ended promptly after 15 minutes, the time that had been promised. Both men emerged from it as if in a daze. Minorikawa found himself staring at Owada in the face, shaking him by the hand. "So, what kind of story did I just get?" he asked, speaking half to himself. "You heard about one man and his life, and I have to admit, it was a good interview." "I'm glad to hear you're doing good." "Thanks, you have my gratitude." With a satisfied smile, Minorikawa closed his notebook. Sorry. "Right, glad to hear that then." Owada inclined his head, looking a bit bewildered. A flustered Tsukuzawa interrupted. "Mr. Minorikawa, wasn't this interview for a piece about the performance?" "Huh?" Minorikawa blinked. "It's just that you were only asking about Mr. Owada and not about the performance itself," Tsukuzawa said. "Oh, I see what you mean. Actually, I came here for a piece I'm going to be writing called Where Are They Now? Washed Up Broadcast Writer Showcase." I washed up? What, I was red in the face all over again. "You bastard! How dare you! Forget everything I just told you. I do not give my permission to use it in your magazine. You're too late." "What?" "I've already heard your whole story. You should be grateful that I'll be writing a piece on it." "You bastard!" With a wild look in his eyes, Owada snatched a hammer the stage crew had left nearby. What are these options? Oh my god. What are these options? Wait, go ahead, hit me, or ouch. I'm sorry, we have to see option B. "Go ahead, hit me." "Oh, I'll hit you, alright." Owada waved the hammer menacingly. But the attack came to a sudden halt as the ringtone startled him out of his fury. "Hold on a moment," Minorikawa said brightly. "I have to take this." Jesus Christ! The audacity of this fucking man. He whipped out his cell phone. "Hello? Minorikawa speaking." "This is Osawa." Wow, he called back a lot sooner than Minorikawa had expected. "Have your daughters come home then?" "No. Actually, there's a favor I'd like to ask you." "A favor?" Minorikawa thought back to his visit at the Osawa residence. The drawn curtains, the stricken look on Osawa's face. Minorikawa's instincts had sensed something significant was going on. Apparently, getting the full story wasn't going to come without some cost. "A favor, huh? Is it something urgent?" "I'll pay whatever I have to. I just need you to look into something as quickly as possible." His voice had a telltale desperation of a man who'd been backed into a corner. "Alright," Minorikawa said. "I can help you out for a little while." Osawa hurriedly explained what he was after. The request was a strange one. He wanted Minorikawa to look into a scandalous article that 4-star general gossip had run about him in the past. "What makes this so important?" Do I have to say? I mean, you're asking me to look into something without explaining anything." He eyed Owari, lurking nearby with obvious irritation. Minorikawa would need to calm down the erstwhile broadcast writer, or else his interview really would be for naught. He decided to bluff both men at the same time. "Let me just say one thing," he said into the phone. He made sure he spoke loud and clear so that Owari would overhear. I want to tell this world the story. No, I need to tell it. If I don't feel that way about something, no amount of money in the world will get me to write an article on it. That's my pride as a writer at work. Minorikawa could see Oware's aura of rage fading as he listened. The theater man looked surprised. Whew. Meanwhile, Osawa had decided to open up a bit. All right, he said. I can't share all the details, but... Okay, he's in a talkative mood now. Good job, Minorikawa. See, this is going fine. Oh no. The power balance of the entire world might be at stake here, Osawa continued, and I mean that quite literally. I can tell you more after you're done investigating. Wait, was he serious? How could the world's balance of power hinge on looking into some alleged marital affair? It was so absurd that Minorikawa had to fight the urge to burst out laughing. A person would need to be out of his mind to believe a story like that. But Minorikawa wasn't the average person. And sometimes, the truth was so ridiculous, it really was stranger than fiction. Osawa wasn't lying. Minorikawa's instincts told him that much. All right, he said. I'll check the editing department notes from back then. Minorikawa could feel his excitement building. Things really were really getting interesting. For the moment, he nearly forgot Tayama and his troubles. When he ended the call, Oware approached him and extended his hand. Listen, your methods might be a little extreme, but I can tell you take pride in your work. Of course I do. I'm sorry for getting so worked up. I'd bet you write a fine article about me. So please, Mr. Minorikawa, let the world know about me and my half-lived life. Minorikawa took the offered hand and shook it. Leave it to me. Once I'm done with it, you won't just be some washed-up nobody anymore, Mr. Oware. It's Oware. Minorikawa grinned. Minorikawa rushed out of the theater. He'd completed all the interviews that he could get done before 4 o'clock. Now he had an hour left to write it up and convince the folks from the loan company that the gossip could stay afloat. Ah! He let out a roar, psyching himself up for the final push. Nice. Alright, we're about an hour in. I'm gonna quickly take a break and grab my water because my throat's getting dry, so I will be right back. Where is that scene? Alrighty, I am back. So, the obvious way to go from here is this jump point over to Osawa's, and then we just have to figure out how to not get Keno a bad end. And then we'll be able to move on to the next hour in the game. We need the jump point, which is this one? Yes. Sorry, I felt like I was going to burp. Osawa picked up his cell phone and dialed Tanaka's number. The phone rang several times. He listened grimly to the empty mechanical sound. Sorry. Preparing himself for disappointment. What is it? Tanaka's voice sounded coldly in Osawa's ear. The tension was electric. Osawa felt a surge of outrage. He wanted to scream. But he took a deep breath and managed to maintain control. Tanaka? Where are you? Is Maria all right? Tanaka did not reply. The police told me. They said you were connected to the kidnapping. A soft chuckle came from the other end of the line. Ah, well, the police sure do know how to do their jobs. Wait, seriously? Tanaka's tone was unapologetic. He sounded nothing like the man Osawa thought he knew so well. Why would you do this? Money? Are you having money troubles? Money? Tanaka replied. I suppose that's part of it. Honestly, I doubt you'd understand. Do you have any idea what it's been like for me, doing our research together? You're always the one who takes center stage. The fruits of our success are all yours, even though you couldn't have done any of it without me. The more he said, the more vitriol seethed into his words. Osawa's hand trembled as he clutched the phone. The taker can never understand how it feels to be taken from. You've hoarded so many things to yourself, so I'm taking some of them back. And with that, he hung up. Hey, Tanaka! Osawa dialed number again, but Tanaka didn't pick up. Osawa racked his brain, thinking back on how Tanaka had been acting earlier that day. Had there been anything unusual? Any clue at all, no matter how small? If he could find some hint, maybe he'd be able to find Maria and Hitomi. That was it! I had been suspicious of Tanaka all along, so much that she'd planted a bug on him hidden in a tie clip. Her suspicions must have been pretty strong. Wait. Osawa recalled what Kajiwara had said. But still, if she's that worried, giving a tie clip as a gift is a bit... The words had struck Osawa as odd when he first heard them. I'd never given him a tie clip. His heart gave a heavy throb in his chest. It couldn't be. No. It was impossible. The article from the 4-star General Gossip crept back into his mind. The article had talked about a man I had dated before she married Osawa. The man's identity was never revealed. Could it have been Tanaka? You hoarded so many things to yourself, so I'm taking some of them back. Tanaka's cold words took on a new depth of meaning. Osawa felt the foundations of his life begin to crumble. Were Tanaka and I accomplices in all this? No. Wait. Just calm down. He couldn't let himself jump to conclusions. He needed to be more level-headed. Everything depended on it. If the two really were accomplices, why would I have planted a bug on Tanaka? What purpose would that serve? What could it mean? It was no use. Osawa couldn't think of how that made sense. First things first, he needed to establish what the relationship between I and Tanaka really was. Once he figured that out, he'd be able to get a better handle on the situation. Obviously, he couldn't just go and ask Ai directly. If she really were involved in all this, she certainly wouldn't tell him the truth. Osawa thought back to the business card he tossed in the trash. He didn't relish the thought of getting help from that scavenging hyena, but now was no time to be picky. If he wasn't able to leave the house, he needed someone else to do the investigating for him. The freelance lighter, Minori Munarikawa. He was Osawa's only hope. Oh, we're on the to be to continued for that one. Alright. So we have a to be continued for all except Kano, who has a bad end right now. That's not where I want to jump back to. I think I need to choose a different one of these. No, that one's correct because I've used that. I remember that now. So that one's correct. Do I just need to go through the scene again? No, it does appear. Let's read the hint on this. Kano Sasayama and the rental guy were sent into another dimension due to the malfunction of the cats. Should probably never put that cat suit on. He mentioned buying it at a variety shop. Okay, so I think I need to go back to Maria's route. Because at some point... Haha! So I need to change out this one. We'll deal with it ourselves. I feel a little guilty about having him go out of his way for me more than he already has already. Maybe I should deal with it myself. He looks a bit disappointed when I tell him that. I buy the necklace for 30,000 yen and leave the knick-knack shop hauling the costume with me. But as I walk along, I start regretting my decision and can't find a good place to throw the cat outfit away. Finally, I spot a convenience store that looks like it'll do just fine. One of the employees is out front, cleaning out the trash can. Several large garbage bags line the side of the road. Perfect. Maybe I can have him toss out the costume along with everything else. Excuse me. So I've got this old catsuit here. I figured it can't hurt to ask. Yeah, I know. The shop boy takes the costume from me. Taku Okado, 22-year-old getting by on part-time employment. Recently, after a number of employees quit in rapid succession, the owner hurriedly took on several new hires, but for some reason, instead of everyone chipping in on the cleaning, Okado always winds up stuck doing it. You're here to throw this thing out? I got it. He sounds wholly unsurprised. He accepts it so blithely that I actually feel bad. It's been like this all morning, he says. Don't even care anymore. Just throw away what you need and be on your way, I guess. It's been like what all morning? I'm out here cleaning and people keep dumping trash on me. First it was this couple that up and threw a garbage bag at me. Oh my god! Achi Endo and Hitomi Osawa, the two had just run into a girl called Kanan. After that, some homeless-looking guy came by, took all his clothes off, and left. Detective Yuji Sasayama from the Shibuya precinct. At the moment, Sasayama is searching for a costume for his next disguise. Just like now, some chummy girl tossed out some empty cardboard boxes and a bunch of empty bottles. That must have been Chiri. She was probably drinking the burning hammer while she walked along. So when you came by just now with this thing, I knew right away. Yep, this again. I'm sorry. That's alright. 3 times, 4 times, what's the difference? He flashes a bright smile, but it's clearly insincere. He looks at me more closely. Huh. Aren't you the girlfriend of that dude who threw a bag of garbage at me? What? Nope, not me. Huh. Guess I'm misremembering then. Well, anyway, thanks for your help with this. I give the guy a bow. Okay. Do I have to go through all this again? No, I don't. Okay. But that would change this ending. Haha! So I can just go from here. 10 minutes later, a man clad in black appeared on one of the monitors. The operator lined up his cursor. The comparison check confirmed that it was Al-Karawan. Yes! Kano hissed, pumping his fist. It appeared that their quarry was simply walking around, calm and composed. Kano radioed in Al-Karawan's location to Kuze. All units, intercept the suspect on the double, Kuze ordered. Excuse me. Kano will provide guidance using the surveillance monitors. They saw Al-Karawan stop in front of a cigarette vending machine. Was he waiting for someone? Sasayama reporting. I've got eyes on the mutt. Kano's partner had evidently been nearby. I'm making the arrest, he said. There was a note of courage in Sasayama's voice. He came into view on the monitor, walking casually. At some point, he ditched his anime nerd costume for a street dancer's getup. It didn't appear that Al-Karawan had noticed him yet. Bit by bit, Sasayama closed the distance. Not much further now. Kano's hand balled into a fist as he watched. And then something unexpected happened. Another man came running into view, right in the middle of the monitor. Teru Toyama. While searching for Hana at Shibuya Gaigo, he was located by a duo of debt collectors and fled the scene. Hana left Gaigo to find him and ran into him here in Maruyamacho. The pair are heading towards Koendori, trying to find a place to hide. There was no sound, but they could see the newcomer was shouting something. As Al-Karawan turned to look at the man, Sasayama launched himself like a bullet from a gun. In an instant, Detective and Perp were locked in a violent scuffle right there on the street. Kano swallowed a lump in his throat as he watched the struggle unfold. Apologies, I need to check my messages. This one's kind of important. Yes, I know, I'm cock-blocking you at the exciting part. I apologize. You can blame my sibling. Come on, Discord. Thank you. Early in the day, Alcadawan had done a number on Sasayama, but this time the detective had the upper hand. He got a grip on Alcadawan's neck and kneed on him repeatedly. Alcadawan tried desperately to bring Sasayama to the ground, but Sasayama braced himself and avoided the takedown. Then he shifted his stance and took Alcadawan to the pavement with a spectacular hip throw. Ooh! Yes! Kano clapped his hands together in excitement. Catching the perp in a scarf hold, Sasayama got out the handcuffs. A technique in judo involves wrapping an arm around the opponent's neck while performing an upper body pin. Stanley, we should head to the scene, Kano said. He looked away from the monitor for a mere moment, and when he looked back, Sasayama had released the hold and crumbled to the ground. What? Panic? Kano stared at the image of his friend. There was something jutting up from Sasayama's abdomen. Zoom in! Kano cried frantically. The camera closed in on Sasayama. Now Kano could see exactly what he'd feared. Sasayama's been stabbed in the gut. Blood pooled on the pavement around him. Kano screamed, Sasayama! The camera showed several other detectives arriving at the scene, capturing Alcadawan before he could escape. But Sasayama lay motionless. The pool of blood around him spread further and further across the pavement. Unable to look any longer, Kano rushed from the surveillance room. If they kill Sasayama, I'm gonna be so fucking sad. We're on to the next hour. Alright, which means essentially we get a blank slate on who to choose from. I need to know Sasayama's alive. I will cry if he's dead. Kano practically dived from the car when it arrived on the scene in Maru Yamacho. Don't want autoplay. Thank you. The place was teeming with officers and onlookers alike. Out of the way, please, move aside! Kano forced his way through the throng. Sasayama was lying in a massive pool of blood. Sasayama! Kano rushed to his partner's side. The knife was still embedded deep in Sasayama's belly. Its handle shuddered each time he drew a labored breath. Why are there not paramedics? Guess I messed up. Sasayama could only manage a raspy murmur. Please don't try to talk, Kano urged. Looks like I won't be celebrating. The missus's birthday. Sasayama drew a small package from his pocket. It had been neatly wrapped and fitted with a pretty little ribbon. Here, give this to Michan for me. Kano shook his head. No way. You can give it to her yourself. You've never met Mi-chan, huh? She's real pretty. Probably surprised how pretty she... I know. You've told me all about her. Kano, please, give this to my wife for me. Mustering up the last of his strength, Sasayama pressed the gift into Kano's hand. Sasayama! Sasayama's hand dropped back into the puddle of blood. The paramedic team finally arrived at the scene. As Sasayama was loaded into the ambulance, Kano felt a surge of rage boiling inside of him. Clenching his fist so hard his nails dug into his palm, he marched over to the captive Alcadoan. You son of a bitch! He wound up for a punch to Alcadoan's face, only to have his arm caught forcibly by the elbow. Spinning his head around, he found Stanley standing there. Let go of me, Stanley. But the American had a grip of steel and Kano's arm wouldn't budge. They allow you to assault suspects here in Japan, do they? Kano bit his lip and then lowered his shaking fist. No, of course not, he growled. Alcadoan let out a nasal chuckle as he watched the pair. With a cold glare, Stanley strolled over to him. He leaned in close to whisper something, and all at once the blood drained from Alcadoan's face. Visibly shaken, Alcadoan said something back to Stanley. Stanley gave a slight nod and left the captive with the police escort. Kano went over to him. Hey, what was that all about? Apparently, Alcadoan gave Hitomi some instructions. Told her to get into a blue minivan that was parked along Dolgonzaka. So Stanley's hunch had been correct. But why would Alcadoan confess so quickly? How'd you get him to talk? You don't need to know that. Turning on his heel, Stanley went to report the news about the blue van to the task force. Kuze immediately directed the detectives nearest Dolgonzaka to look into it, but they found no blue minivan in the area. Ugh. The order then came down for all personnel to search for the vehicle. Kano thought back to another item in the Dick diary. Sorry. I need to blow my nose quickly. I will be right back. I apologize. Sorry, one moment. Okay, that's better. Sorry, when you talk that much, it moves everything, so that all your sinuses get cleared. Dictum 14. Use the dead as a stepping stone, but be sure to die a stepping stone yourself. Okay. In the abstract, Kano could appreciate the nobility of self-sacrifice, but when he thought of Sasayama's blood-stained figure, it wasn't so easy to keep his emotions in check. First time you've ever seen a fellow officer get hurt. Stanley had come back over to him. We don't have time to relax. If you can't keep your anger in, then do something about it, here and now. Stanley pointed it to his own jaw. Hit me, American style. Kano smiled wryly at the unexpected proposal. Ooh, I kinda wanna hit him. We're hitting him. I wanna hit him. Without a word, Kano threw a punch. Stanley soaked up the rage-fueled blow, his face a mask of calm. Kano felt all the more miserable in the face of such an unflinching resolve. If I weren't such a bumbling clod, Sasayama never would have. Hey, don't blame yourself, Stanley said. You guys have been doing better than I expected. More sarcasm, huh? Stanley's mouth curled up sheepishly and he held his hands wide. Kuze's voice suddenly cut in over the wireless. We've located the blue minivan. It's in Jinan 1-Chome. Chome. Not Chome. Wow. Chome on Koendori. Hitomi might be there. And maybe the kidnapper's ringleader would turn up too. On pure reflex, Kano broke into a run. Stanley followed close behind. They sped through the back streets, making their way to Koendori. Kano was a pretty fast runner, but Stanley kept up with him without apparent difficulty. We're in the army or something? No, the Marines. United States Marine Corps, a rapid deploying force specialized in amphibious landing operations, an independent branch of the armed forces, along with the Army, Navy, and Air Forces. Excuse me. The Marines' motto is Semper Fidelis, Latin for always faithful. It wasn't much further than Koendori. Kano, if we find the van, don't get too close, Stanley warned. It could be a trap. These people do anything to carry out their goals. Anything, huh? Kano could sense the truth of Stanley's words. He reminded himself that his life could depend on remembering them. He raised his eyes. They were coming up on Koendori. Suddenly, a boom as loud as cannon fire shook the area. Something's wrong, Kano thought. That's no ordinary city noise. A column of black smoke rose up between two nearby buildings. Passersby stopped and stared, gasping in alarm. Ooh. When Kano saw the flames, this hadn't been an accident. Someone had set off an explosion. The Shibuya precinct wasn't too far from here. Kano recalled the attempted bioterrorism attack on Kasumi Gaseki. God, the coughing. Oh, right in... 2 years, the Tokyo Metropolitan Public Safety Commission obtained intel of an imminent bioterrorist attack within the city. Immediately afterwards, an unoccupied minivan exploded outside the Metropolitan Police Department, and a device for dispersing a bacterial contagion was discovered at the subway platform at Kasumiga, Katsumigaseki Station. Having determined that the city bureaucracy was the target, the Japanese government contacted the terrorist organization responsible in secret, making a deal to put an end to the threat. That incident had begun with a van exploding outside the Tokyo MPD station. Already, a large crowd of onlookers was gathering. Shouts rose up as they took in the scene. "What's going on? What happened? That car is on fire!" Kano called into HQ, then quickly slipped around the back of the burning vehicle. It was a minivan. Peering at the flamed chassis, he could see that there was someone inside. Oh no. Could that be Hitomi? Once they had their hands on the antiviral, the criminals would have no further use for Hitomi Osawa. Already the body had been charred to ash. At this point, he was hardly recognizable as human anymore. Oh, interesting. How am I doing for time? Okay. Okay. I think we'll get through one or two more before the stream end. Oh, sorry, I'm just adjusting my neck and my back and my whole body. Ah. All right. I want to look down Osawa's route. See what's happening here. I've never trusted anyone, not on a fundamental level. Human beings are a type of organism that I can't get a true handle on through mere surface interactions. And the very fact that I've never trusted anyone else means that, inevitably, no one else has ever trusted me. In the end, may the root of all my problems can be traced back to my heart. As he waited for Minorikawa to contact him, Osawa thought about his current crisis. Assuming Tanaka is behind the kidnapping, then he must have accomplices. And these criminals had mistakenly abducted Maria in their attempt to get the antiviral drug that was in Hitomi's blood. Maria and Hitomi were fraternal twins, but they looked similar enough to be mistaken for identical twins. Still, Tanaka would never confuse the two. The mix-up must have been made by some criminal who didn't know Maria or Hitomi personally. Insisting that Hitomi bring the ransom to the train station was obviously the solution. It had set up her for a second abduction. But piecing together this much of the kidnapper's plan only raised a different question. Why had Tanaka shown him those emails from Hitomi? Wouldn't the criminals want to keep information like that hidden? The more Osawa thought about things, the less they made sense. Just who are my true allies, and who are my foes? Mr. Osawa, a delivery has arrived for you. It was Kajiwara at the study door. Come in. Kajiwara stepped into the room and handed Osawa a letter-sized envelope. Osawa checked the label. Kaming, the official Ayaka Kamiki fan club membership application enclosed. Requires a 1,000 yen initiation fee and yearly dues of 3,000 yen. Membership grants several perks, including the opportunity to reserve concert tickets in advance of the general public. Osawa was found of the members-only website content, which includes Aya Kamiki's blog and exclusive videos. Right. He'd requested the application the day he'd gotten back from overseas. Would you mind opening that? Kajiwara asked apologetically. What for? I'd just like to check the contents of any packages you received today, sir. It's possible the kidnapper may contact you by mail. Osawa opened the envelope. Inside he found the expected application, along with several postcards featuring pictures of the singer. Kajiwara peered pointedly at the postcard images. You must really like her, the detective said. And just what sort of music do you listen to, then? Osawa asked, staring at one of the postcards. It was a striking photo that showed off Kamiki's expressive eyes. Let me think. Mostly classical, I suppose. Osawa raised a quizzical brow. You know... Kajiwara continued, like Mozart and Chopin. Chopin? Is it Chopin or Chopin? Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, 1756 to 1791. Austrian-born music prodigy and classical composer. Famous works include The Marriage of Figaro, The Magic Flute, and Symphony No. 41, also known as the Jupiter Symphony. Frédéric Francois Chopin, 1810 to 1849. Composer and pianist of the early Romantic era, famed as the national musician of Poland. Left behind numerous solo piano works. Famous works include his Nocturne, Op. 9, No. 2, and his Piano Sonata No. 2. He hummed a few bars. Can't say I've ever heard them. Are you serious? Kajiwara looked shocked. I'm familiar with the names, of course. I just never had much of an interest in music. Oh, that's such a shame. Would you care to listen to a piece now? Ooh, that's a good question. Sure. I suppose I may as well. Now that he brought it up, Osawa was curious to know what sort of music Kajiwara enjoyed. The detective pulled the digital music player out of his pocket. Here you go. Osawa slipped the attached earbuds into his ears. He heard a flow of quiet strings that was soon joined by bold, dramatic horns. As the piece continued, it grew more profound and complex. Osawa could feel his spirit calming. He took a deep breath, then expelled it through his nostrils. He felt as if the toxic gloom had filled him was departing with the air. Before it, nearly 10 minutes had passed. What do you think? It's quite nice. The theme of this piece is, Kajiwara paused for a moment and thought. Well, it's about how erudition? Erudition can be boorishness. Accumulated knowledge, the term often connotates an advanced or esoteric understanding. Displaying a moderate amount can impress others, but pompously flaunting it is bound to put them off. Thank you. If I hadn't met you, I'd never discovered this piece. He spoke the words unthinkingly, with unaccustomed frankness. Was this the power of music, then? I'm very happy to hear that, sir. Osawa gazed at one of the postcards as he let himself be drawn back into the music. Aya was scooping up handfuls of mystical blue sand, the grains dripping down from her fingertips. I feel like I could be in this photo here, Osawa muttered. Like I've lived my life, letting so many things slip through my fingers. Kajiwara thought for a moment before responding. I think anyone who's worked hard to accomplish something and focused for a long time on that one thing is susceptible to those kinds of feelings. Accomplishing something means getting results. That's not where my problem is. Osawa removed the headphones and gave back the music player. You told me not to hide things from you, right? Kajiwara nodded silently. Then allow me to speak frankly. Leaning back heavily in his chair, Osawa took another deep, slow breath. I'm anxious. So anxious that it's almost crushing me. Given the circumstances, sir, that's completely No, Osawa spoke before Kajiwara could finish. It's not that. It's not that at all. He shook his head vigorously. If the worst should happen to my daughter, how am I going to feel, I wonder? I'm not a man with a wide range of emotions. My heart is always cold somehow. And the truth is, I've wanted it to be that way. Which is why, if I do lose my daughter, my heart might remain unmoved. I may not even be able to feel a father's sorrow. That's what I'm anxious about. He felt his emotions twist inside him in a way that was utterly confusing. For perhaps the first time in his life, he realized how fickle a thing that the human heart could be. It's all right, sir. Kajiwara flashed him a carefree smile. What's all right? People who really have cold hearts don't worry about that sort of thing. The detective held out his music player again. Here, I'd like you to have this. Please give it another listen if you'd like. I think it might help calm your nerves. Osawa took the offered device. He had dared to open up to Kajiwara, just a little, and to his own surprise he felt grateful for it. And how about one of these as well? The detective produced a banana from his pocket. I'm fine, thanks. Are you sure? We can take the banana. Let's take the banana. Oh, all right. I guess I'll take it. Osawa spoke irritably, then his expression softened a little. You know, you've been getting on my nerves all day. Really? And here I thought I'd been doing what I could to soothe your spirits, Mr. Osawa. It's actually been a real long time since I've yelled at anyone quite so much. As the words left his lips, Osawa found himself thinking back to one particular rainy day. Maria had been in 5th grade at the time. Osawa was standing in his daughter's room. In his hands, he held the letter she'd left behind. He happened to glance out the window and saw Maria walking along, soaked from head to toe. In an instant, Osawa was consumed with rage. Maria had left a note. It read, Dad, you only pay attention to Tommy. You're too busy to play with me, so I'm running away from home. Struck by an impulse he didn't quite understand, he ran from the room, heading for the front door. Maria had just gotten back inside. Osawa met her silently in the entranceway. Wet strands of hair clung to the girl's forehead as she looked up at her father with a bitter glare. You don't care what happens to me, do you? Impulsively, he slapped her face. I need to cough. Maria's cheek turned red and... oh no. Sorry. Maria's cheek had turned red and tears welled up in her eyes. Osawa's anger transformed abruptly into guilt. He gazed down at the palm of His hand saw a tiny spot of blood. He was shocked by the recognition of what he'd just been done. And then he was afraid. Afraid that his daughter could bring such a raw emotion out of him and make him do something so thoughtless. Is something wrong, Mr. Osawa? Kajiwara was leaning in, looking concerned. Oops. One moment. Osawa came back into the moment with a start. He'd realized he'd buried his face in his hands. No, he muttered, looking up. Just getting angry, yelling at people. I'm not good with that sort of thing. I don't like it. He picked up the music player and fidgeted with the earbuds as he spoke. Well, getting angry and yelling at people, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that's just human. It's human to do those kinds of things? I often said that he was cold and mechanical. Her sarcasm only underlined a fact that he'd always lived with, that he didn't know how to conduct himself like a human being. If you get angry, you show it, Kajiwara said. If you get sad, you show it. It's human nature to let other people know how we're feeling, after all. What if doing that hurts the other person? That's when you apologize, sir. Oh. It occurred to Osawa that he'd never tried to tell anyone how he felt before. He never felt the need to. And yet, right now, he suddenly felt that if his daughters were to appear before him, he might blurt out everything he'd ever left unsaid. It was a terrifying thought. Darling? I opened the door and stepped into the room. The detectives are asking for you. It seems there's been a development. We'll be right there. Osawa and Kajiwara hurried out of the room. Before the news was shared with the Osawas, the members of the investigation team quietly briefed Detective Kajiwara. Osawa and I sat on the sofa on the far side of the room, watching. They could see Kajiwara go pale. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief several times. Bad news, Osawa thought. Mr. Osawa? Ma'am? Kajiwara shuffled his way over to them at last. We've just gotten word from headquarters. He hesitated ominously. Osawa braced himself. Please, let's hear it. First, about your daughter Hitomi. Kajiwara's expression was grim. The body of... Oh, no. The body of a young man named Achi Endo was discovered near Shibuya Station. The name meant nothing to Osawa. In a building not too far from the scene, the detective swallowed. Your daughter Hitomi was found dead. The world began to shake. Osawa staggered, reeling with sudden nauseating vertigo. No, it's not possible. After that, your daughter Maria... The words blurred together. He could no longer comprehend what he was hearing. Everything was wobbling, shuddering, distorting. Hitomi was dead? Hitomi... At those words, Sawa's world went dark. Someone just yanked the curtains closed. Dun dun dun! Shit's going down! So, I have about 15 more minutes. None of these are going to be short, if that's how long the other one took. So... I'm gonna actually... Let's do Minotikawa's, because I think his might be shorter. We might not get all the way through this, but at least it might not be the most drama-filled one, so I won't be leaving on a complete cliffhanger. So. Wait a second. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. Gah! Minorikawa stopped and let out a cry of frustration. Daisuke Endo had asked him for a favor after their interview was done. He promised to tell the Wandering Angels that the dry ice machine they'd purchased was defective. Episode 5. At last, the climax of the play drew near. There was a whole string of troubles, but the cast soldiered on, and it looked like things were going to end all right. Then backstage, Bando noticed the dry ice machine was acting strangely. Even after it had been turned off, the machine continued to churn out more dry ice. The producer, Sukozawa, demanded that the defective device be returned immediately. And so, Tozuka, Bando, and Amo loaded into their vehicle and left the theater. Well, damn. That completely slipped his mind. If he recalled correctly, the issue was that once the machine started making dry ice, it wouldn't stop. If he ran back to the theater now, he'd lose about 10 minutes. Minorikawa checked his wristwatch. The loan people would be coming by the editing office before too long. He needed to prove to them that next month's issue of 4-Star General Gossip was well underway, or else they'd refuse to wait any longer for repayment. And to do that, he needed to fill a minimum of 6 of the 12 remaining blank pages. He couldn't afford to waste even a single second. It was an awkward position to be in. He needed to keep his promise to Endo, but he also needed to spend his time wisely. Guess I don't have a choice. This is gonna be interesting. Let's do this route. There was nothing he could do about having forgotten. He'd hurried on to the cafe. Sorry, Endo. Sorry, Owarai. You're just gonna have to let this one slide. I've got Toyama's life on the line here. He opened the door to the cafe with the practice of a regular. Well, the waitress only got that far before her face fell. You again. Hey, hurry up and get me a seat. She grinned wickedly. I'm terribly sorry, sir, but we're all full at the moment. He looked around. All the seats were indeed filled. As you can see, sir. Really now? The waitress grinned with triumph. Yes, sir. Fine, I'll just write here. Let me get some power. I love him, he's so stupid. Jamming his power cable into a nearby outlet, Minorikawa plunked himself right down on the floor and booted up his laptop. The waitress watched in dismay, then turned to stare vacantly up at the ceiling. Just do whatever you want. I feel so bad for her having to deal with this man. She muttered vaguely. You know, a person can only get away with being obnoxious for so long. Sooner or later, someone's likely to call the police. Minorikawa looked up from his work, startled to see the Burning Hammer salesman standing over him. You're Mr. Yanagishita. Thank you so much for stopping by earlier. Are you going to write your article here? Yanagishita eyed Minorikawa's computer. Oh, that's the latest model, isn't it? Look, I've got no time to talk right now. Minorikawa opened the file with his half-written copy. Ooh, what's this? Chaos at bogus weight loss drink sales demo? Yanagishita read the copy out loud. The organizer, Junichi Yanagishita, didn't merely have a whiff of deceit about him. His breath also stunk. Sounds good? Minorikawa asked. I want to make sure I gave an accurate impression. Oh, I love what you've done with it. This is a great copy. Fantastic. Yanagishita turned to look at him with a manic grin. Yeah, isn't it? The flash, Yanagishita's face went from grinning to livid. Like hell it is! You think I'm just gonna let you write something like that? Oh no! Snatching up the computer, Yanagishita bolted out of the cafe. Hey, get back here! Minorikawa leapt to his feet and rushed off in pursuit. Oh no, the two idiots are together. As he sprinted madly along, Yanagishita turned down a narrow alley. Minorikawa stayed close behind him, desperate to not lose sight of him. His quarry began to weave his way through the back alleys of Shibuya. This guy clearly knew his ways around town. By Miyashita Park, they zipped up onto a pedestrian bridge. Just where the heck was this idiot going? Halfway across the overpass, Yanagishita suddenly stopped. Confused, Minorikawa stopped as well. Give that back, he called. The next moment, Yanagishita flashed a mocking grin and dangled the laptop over the railing. Uh-oh. Minorikawa lunged towards him, but it was already too late. The laptop left Yanagishita's hand and went spinning down through the air. Then, as the two men struggled, Yanagishita felt himself toppled over the railing. Without hesitation, Minorikawa jumped down as well. Whoa! Ah! Minorikawa landed hard. As he struggled to regain his breath, he looked around and saw Yanagishita beside him. Incredibly, the laptop was safe in the charlatan's grasp. Apparently he had somehow managed to catch it in midair. Before Minorikawa could be too relieved, however, Yanagishita got to his feet and took off running again. Get back here, you little weasel! I don't think so! This Yanagishita guy was infuriating. That, and he was really fast! Minorikawa considered himself a decent runner, but he couldn't manage to gain on Yanagishita. If running away was a competitive sport, the guy would be a world-class superstar. As he ran along, a peculiar thought occurred to him. Hold on a minute. If he hates my copy that much, shouldn't he have wanted my computer to break? Why'd he go to his way to catch it like that? It made no sense at all. Hey! Minorikawa shouted between gasping breaths. What are you planning to do with my laptop? Yanagishita glanced back at him. Gonna sell it! Sorry about this! Oh my god. What? Minorikawa was taken aback. Consider compensation for defamation of character. In the civil sense, the act of unlawfully damaging another person's character or reputation in the public eye. In the criminal sense, of the act of disseminating damaging facts about an individual to an unspecified large number of people. Come on, get real! It can't be defamation if the article hasn't run yet. Then consider an advance on the compensation. This was so nonsensical it made Minorikawa's head hurt. But now at least he knew why Yanagishita had dived after the computer. The thief continued to weave his way through the side streets. His speed didn't diminish in the slightest. Damn it, this guy has too much experience running away. Minorukawa's stamina began to fade, and finally he lost sight of his quarry. But that didn't mean he was ready to give up the search. There were articles on that computer that were right on the verge of completion. Whatever it took, he had to get it back. Yanagishita said he was going to sell it. Where could it be headed then? Ooh, that's a good question. But, considering the time, we're gonna have to save that question for next time. So. Stretch. Okay. So, let's go to the close-up here. Alrighty. So, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for staying and watching. Let's do end of stream announcements. So, yeah. For any of you who haven't heard, I will be slowly moving over to YouTube for all my streams and stuff. I'm going to be finishing up some of the games I'm streaming, or that I started on Twitch. I'll be finishing them up because they were pretty close to completion. So I'll be finishing them up on Twitch, and then I'll be moving any new games, new streams over to YouTube. My schedule coming up, I have a stream on Sunday, and then another stream on Monday. Sunday I'll be streaming Catherine here on Twitch, and I will be streaming myhouse.wad over on YouTube along with Pepperminty. Yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna check and see who is streaming right now, and if we want to raid anyone. Although I don't think I have many viewers to raid with. Also, it's an odd hour, so I doubt anyone I know is streaming. Yeah, no. I'm just gonna call it a stream here then. So, thank you all so much for coming, and I hope I will see you all on Sunday. Have a good night, y'all.